It'd be funny is if you went over to the camera and I said "Wingardium Leviosa," and then you like picked the camera and like floated it up.
No, that wouldn't be funny at all.
I think it'd be pretty funny.
I'm not laughing, and I wouldn't laugh until you to put the flipping camera down.
Put it down. See, that'd be funny.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the CP to the Second Degree podcast. This is episode 11.
11.
My name's Clayton Presson. I am joined, as always and forever, by my brogue gallery villain, Corbin Presson.
Dastardly. Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm a little tired. I opened this morning, so on days that I open, I have to wake up at 4 in the morning because I'm a barista,
Right.
supervisor,
Right.
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But it was a slow day, so it was okay. Not a whole lot happened today. Today was pretty boring today. Pretty boring day, I have to say. Pretty boring day.
Pretty boring on my side, too.
Really?
The highlight of my day was you guys driving down.
I fell asleep out there.
I know. It's okay, because I was dealing with my unusually crabby
Wife.
7th-month-old.
Okay.
So
Was there anything
the
that happened?
wife did get a little crabby, though, because she's disappointed in her fried potatoes.
They weren't bad.
Because, no, they weren't. And, I mean, I liked them. And I think she just cooking something that she really does really well. And when she doesn't do something quite exactly perfect, she gets upset. And Meemaw, that's our grandmother, for those of you who don't know what Meemaw is.
Right.
Her fried potatoes are like what you strive for. Like they are the fried potato.
I guess I will say I really enjoyed them, but I would never have guessed it was And We Have Light.
What in the world?
Because the TV dimmed.
That's it.
There was too much white light coming from the screen.
Yeah, so we know now.
Um,
We had suspected, but we didn't know for sure. Now we know.
Yep. So I guess I would say I enjoyed the potatoes,
Yeah.
but I will admit, eating them, I would not have guessed this is someone who, like, is really good at it. So maybe I can understand her frustration.
That's probably the douchiest thing. But
Did anything happen this weekend? What was this weekend?
nothing happened this weekend.
Nothing at all? There has to have been something.
Cardinals kept losing or something. We played some Destiny.
We did play Destiny. I'm getting back into it.
It's about time.
It's just certain, like, the Courts was fun. Prison of Elders is like, I really enjoy Prison of Elders.
We need to get you into a raid, because if you want to be in the day one going for the world's first raid group,
Yeah.
you got a long way to go.
I am a founding member of this.
Doesn't matter if you're a founding member. That standing doesn't hold up in the raid. Unfortunately.
Whatever.
So, I don't think anything happened this weekend.
Believe it or not, folks, we don't always live a very exciting life. Every once in a while, it's just
Normal life. In fact, this weekend for me was like extremely lazy. Because we had actually talked about doing some yard work, getting out the old chainsaw
crazy.
and taking down that big old fire bush back there.
Right.
And actually starting preparing that because we're going to put paver stones out there.
Okay.
And like that's where our picnic table is going to go, the one you backed into and broke the bench.
Yeah.
And anyways, so the first steps of that is like getting that kind of clear and back under control.
Okay.
And we didn't do that at all. We just laid around.
I got sushi and then went to Ted Drew's the other day. So
I haven't
that
been to Ted Drew's in a long time.
Ted Drew's is dynamite. I also, I had ordered my usual, which was the strawberry concrete with chocolate mixed in.
Hmm.
You do that because you get the smaller size, and then because the chocolate gets mixed in, it creates a larger amount, and they put it in the next size up, and they're a little bit more generous in their portions. So if you get like the regular, it gets put in the large, and it's over halfway filled.
Dang.
But anyways, so my wife then ordered her ice cream and then wanted a coffee. And then she was like, "Do you want the coffee mixed in?" And she was like, "I want a hot coffee." And she goes, "Oh, okay. I thought you meant like the flavoring." And then I was like,
Ted Drew's has coffee flavor?
"You have coffee flavor?" So now I have to go back like soon so I can try their coffee flavor.
What if?
'Cause I love coffee ice cream.
We can discuss it off camera because of timing and logistics. But what if
Oh.
when we go to see Tarzan this weekend?
So that is for sure.
I'm saying it right now.
You heard it here first.
Because we're also going to do our first vlog about our journey to the Tarzan premiere. We go get some coffee, ice cream at Ted Drew's.
Okay.
And you all can enjoy that in our first vlog. Coming up at you later. This week. Next week, maybe.
Sounds good to me.
Anyways. I didn't even know Ted Drew's had coffee.
Yeah.
You go to an ice cream shop and order a hot coffee. Who knew?
Yeah. Crazy.
Well, if you didn't know by now, this is the CP to the Second Degree podcast. Last week, we discussed Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and all the rumors surrounding the reshoots and what it could possibly mean now that Disney is getting heavily involved. So if you missed that,
Too involved.
go check it out.
Like an overbearing ex.
You can also check out all of our backlog at Podbean, iTunes, or YouTube. And we're soon to be many other places.
Other mediums.
YouTube was giving me so much trouble this week, I didn't do anything else. So,
And we're still not done.
no, because it only...
The video for last week, the last 20 minutes got cut off, so we're re-exporting it.
Yeah, so if
So-
you watched last week and it seemed to cut off abruptly, that's because it cut off abruptly.
Yeah.
It's
But
not
we're gonna
supposed to be that way.
re-upload it so you can watch it.
Yeah,
Because honestly, it cut off like right when we were getting to like
the juicy bits.
the juicy bits of like our opinions.
Yeah. If you listen to the podcast,
You heard it all.
you heard it all. But if you watched the podcast, or if you went and watched the podcast and was like, wait a second, that's not all of it. That's why. Because not only, well, the underlying issue is the laptop, my laptop, I guess is just getting to where it can't really do it. Because I tried to do a higher quality last week, just as an experiment to see how long it would take.
Sure.
And after rendering for about 10 hours, because my laptop is terrible, it didn't render at all.
Yeah.
So I went back to the normal 720, 23 frames per second YouTube setting. Did
Right.
it, but it didn't, again, render all the way. So it only rendered 52 minutes properly. So that's where the issue lies. So, gotta redo that, re-upload it, blah, 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 blah. But,
Also, while I'm thinking about last week's episode, remember when I sent you those screenshots? I was like, man, he just didn't get it.
yeah,
Well, I was re-listening to it, and we glaze over it so fast. I was like, what are you even talking about? Like, we didn't even talk about that stuff.
I know.
Anyways.
That one's for you, Nick Torres. Jeez Louise. You talk about... Let's get real for a second.
Stop it.
Let's get real for a second. You talk about sending a novel to either clarify or discuss or debate when there is no debate even going on. Jeez Louise, Nicholas.
We love you, though. You know that.
Only because he's Puerto Rican. If he wasn't Puerto Rican,
Dude, I had dinner at his house one night.
Yeah.
I
believe it. I believe it.
I still look fondly on that night where he was like, "Do you want to come upstairs and have some food?" And I was like, "Can I have this always and forever, please?" It was so good.
This is just food to you?
This is like...
This is magic to me.
That's exactly right.
So,
Chit Chat ended.
Catch all of our episodes every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time.
CST.
Follow us on Podbean, subscribe to us on iTunes, subscribe to us on YouTube, send us a review on iTunes, and comment freely on the YouTubes.
And we kind of discussed this before in previous episodes. It seems to be YouTube has been the most receptive to these requests.
We do get well, I say a lot.
A lot for us.
Compared to the nothing from everywhere else. We get a lot of comments on our YouTubes. So, but that is more of a vocal place. That's kind of what you do on YouTube.
I guess. It's just funny because like we see the numbers and we see that like it's not just a small amount of people. There are people listening to us.
There are quite a few, yeah.
So what?
Especially on the audio version.
Right. Just talk to us.
Out of the 250 people that listened to our Snoke episode, give me one review.
One review?
Just one review.
Or just be like, hey, just like you guys suck. Like,
yeah,
that's anything.
Just anything. Well, no, don't do that.
Why?
Well, because our goal is to eventually be maybe featured as an up-and-coming or noteworthy. And
right.
to do that, you don't have to have a whole lot of reviews, but you have to have some substantial reviews. You know what I mean? Like,
That's
you can
true.
have, like, there's been people who are new and noteworthy that are getting, like, an average of 50 to 100 views, and they've got, like, 5 to 10 reviews, but they're all, like, decent reviews. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So don't just comment with you suck just to do it.
That's true.
But if you really think we suck, I mean, I can't stop you from saying that.
That's true. So I guess for one last time, this is us. We're not just spewing smoke. You know, we're not just doing what like everyone else just says. We are legitimately saying, if you listen to us like on a weekly basis and you always come back, give us a review. Doesn't have to be super long. Just let us know what brings you back. What do you like? Because again, Clayton and I always say we're always trying to focus on what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. So let us know what you like.
And do it sooner rather than later, because we are actively discussing how to constantly improve on the podcast. What we can do
Give it a little shakedown, shake
it up, or like streamline it, or this or that. So we're going to implement things on our own sooner rather than later, I imagine.
Right.
So that we can really start to try and push our expansion. But we want to know what actual listeners think.
Well, and when we look at the numbers are pretty consistent. So like, there's a key group of people who are always coming back. Mm-hmm. So again, like I said, just let us know. Why you coming back, man? Why you coming back?
What you doing there?
Why you coming back?
Why you here?
I don't know.
What's up?
I don't know.
Potatoes are fried and they're delicious.
What? Potatoes.
No.
Boil them, mash
No.
Stick them in the
Don't do it.
stew.
Stop it. Well, let's crack open. Let's crack open the interwebs. Grab all the grains of salt. Because we're in news and rumors.
News and rumors. This week's news and rumors, we're going to start off with that old Zack Snyder.
Oh, are we implementing our...
Oh, yeah.
Are we?
It's going to be in the middle of the
okay.
news and rumors.
So let me know when we're going to do it so I can...
Oh, I'll let you know.
Intro it.
Oh, you want to intro it?
I was gonna. Okay. Why, you have an intro ready?
It was just going to be like, boop-a-da-boop, this guy. And then go into the story why.
No, tell me when it's time.
Okay, so this week starts off with Zack Snyder talking about how the Justice League retooling is most definitely in response to the fan outcry of BVS.
Oh,
and
really?
I got some quotes from him.
We should turn. We should sit like this.
This?
Yeah. Like, have your chair at a 45-degree angle to the table.
Is this one of the shape ups we're talking about?
Yeah, implementing now. Too late, reviewer.
I really
Face the camera.
I really kind of preferred the way you guys sat before.
Too bad. You like our profile versus our actual frontal face?
But I need to see. Okay, anyways.
We can still talk to each other, but it's not so awkward because we're not like sitting here and then like, whoosh, camera look. Now it can be like, camera look, looking at brother, camera look, looking at brother, camera look, looking at brother.
It's true. I guess this way they can see that I'm wearing an England World Cup jersey. Before it's just a red shoulder.
Mm-hmm. And they can see that I'm wearing a lame Dr. Pepper shirt.
If I turn this way, you can see it in the back.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
That's funny. Can I read my... Okay. So Zack Snyder, we got some quotes from him. Says, when Batman vs Superman came out, I was like, wow, okay, oof, the filmmaker admitted in an interview with Vulture. Mm-hmm. It did catch me off guard. I have had to, in my mind, make an adjustment. I do think that the tone of Justice League has changed because of what the fans have said. You really had to dig down on the darker parts of them to make them fight each other. I really do believe that with this movie, with Justice League, they've been freed of the responsibility to be in a place where they would fight each other. That's liberating for us in making the movie, because now we have a single enemy with a single objective, and it's really about uniting the team. That, to me, is the fun activity.
They've been liberated.
The common enemy is you, Zach.
Yeah, I was going to say he liberated himself from himself. So, congratulations.
That's literally him double downing on the filth he made, saying like, no, like there is a reason why this was so dark, because you had to go there to make them fight each other.
But you didn't.
Right.
And we went into great detail in our first episode on why he didn't need to.
And Jeff Johns has said, you don't need to.
Yeah. If you haven't listened to that, go check it out.
But at least he did say, whoa, okay, oof.
Yeah. Did we punch you in the stomach there a little bit, Zach?
Next up, whilst talking.
Whilst
talking to the Hollywood Reporter, Tom Roman, the head of Sony now, revealed that Sony still wants a Spider-Man movieverse.
I've read this.
This is the interview with Hollywood Reporter. Since you teamed with Marvel, do you plan to make a whole Spider-Man universe? Do you have plans for more work with Marvel? Tom. Yes to both questions. It's been a fantastic our relationship with Marvel. Hollywood Reporter. Who has greenlight authority? Tom. Sony has the ultimate authority, but we have deferred the creative lead to Marvel because they know what they're doing. We start shooting the new Spider-Man in Atlanta in mid-June. Hollywood Reporter. Do you want to trim the costs of that franchise? Tom. I don't want to trim costs. I want to make money. And sometimes you make money by trimming costs, and sometimes by investing in things that are profitable. A movie like Spider-Man by Marvel, that's not inexpensive, but it's a great investment. Knowing that Marvel has such a clear creative vision, I sleep very well at night. I still...
See, here, I think we kind of touched on it a little bit last week. I'm okay with a Spider-Verse that would now exist within the MCU and is headed up by Kevin Feige. I'm okay with that because Spider-Man is so large. You got lots of different Spider people. You got lots of villains,
but not enough to make
a lot.
I don't think enough to make their own movies. Like Sony right now is shopping scripts for a Silver Sable movie. Like, who wants to see that? And that's damaging to the property, in my opinion, because you're banking.
I'm not saying like right now, but what if they go down and they do a movie like based on the Clone Saga? And so then you have a Ben Reilly. So now you can make a Ben Reilly movie if you wanted.
I mean,
or what if you do a movie based on Spider Island's story arc? And now you've got like
Kane Parker.
Right. Or what if you have a movie based on, what did they even call it? Where all the different Spider-Mans from the different universes. And that's how Spider-Gwen's around now. So you could have a Spider-Gwen movie.
Well, I mean...
The future, I'm not saying right now, but the future, depending on what they do with Spider-Man,
I guess it just depends on the character.
You could branch off.
I feel like what makes me nervous is the characters they're gravitating towards are characters that I don't think have
Well,
a story.
That's why I say Kevin Feige led, because
he has to prove all of
Sony
it.
is shopping around these terrible ideas, and now they're using Marvel as like, you just do it. So let Marvel do it. They'll do it right,
Sure.
and we won't get that stupid Sinister Six movie or the all women married. I don't know.
Well, when the Sony leaks happened, there was also that one movie I do where
The young Aunt May as a secret agent. Yeah, it's so awesome. Let me see that movie right now.
guarantee you Avi Arad was like, let's do it. It's going to be awesome.
Let's have a Mean Girls style movie with Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy.
Yes. Next.
Which I guess some people would probably go see, but
Maybe.
not me.
No. But Mean Girls is really funny.
It was really funny.
I like
So
it.
maybe I would
I
go
like
see it.
Mean Girls. Mean Girls is really good.
Maybe I would go see it.
It's so fetched. Next, according to Benedict Wong, Marvel Studios won't be using the character in its classical manner.
What character?
Um,
What are you talking about?
I'm so sorry. In Doctor Strange, Benedict Wong is
Okay.
the supporting cast. In the comics, his character is the manservant to Doctor Strange.
And this one, he's more like a...
He's more of a drill sergeant. He's
okay.
teaching Doctor Strange all of the ways. And
Okay.
he's quoted as saying, "I'm certainly not going to be the tea-making manservant. We're heading in a different direction." He's more of, how you would say, a drill sergeant.
You a little
However,
upset there, buddy?
However, it looks like the martial arts element of Wong will be left behind, and the character will strictly rely on magic. He was also quoted as saying, "There isn't any martial arts for Wong and Doctor Strange, actually. He's more of a drill sergeant to Kamara Taja. He's one of the masters of sorcery."
Okay.
So,
Whatever.
all right. I also got some quotes from John Bernthal as he chats about the Punisher. Things are starting to, I won't say pick up, but we're getting closer to the Punisher kickoff series, and he's going to be in the Defenders. So he's kind of reflecting on his time as the Punisher.
Well, the Defenders will be out before Punisher.
He's going to be in the Defenders.
Well, that's what I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just trying to map it out in my brain.
So this is kind of like him talking about the character and how much he loved playing the character and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I wasn't desperately trying to get into the comic book world, he laughed. For me, it's about the human being. He has no superpower. His
This coming
superpower...
from... He just came off of Walking Dead.
comic book.
Not trying to get out in the comic book world, but you just were. Bruh.
Rah. His superpower is his humanity. It's his drive, his rage, and his loss. I could have never played this part if I weren't a husband or father. Until you really understand what it's like to love somebody more than yourself and to willingly give your life for them, only then can you understand what it would mean if they were taken from you.
I can understand that.
I think when you're talking about characters like these, the way they fight, what's motivating the fight is very important. Beating someone up to drag them into jail is different than someone who is exercising his rage on people. The Frank Castle you find in this story is not the Punisher. I'm talking about Frank Castle in Daredevil. He's kind of, at this point, talking about how his time in Daredevil is him evolving into the Punisher that we know.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't even don an actual costume
Right,
a la Punisher until the end.
right.
So,
He's reeling from his loss of his family. He's driven by rage and is on a singular mission to find these people who took his family from him, and is going to do it as brutally as possible. As far as his favorite scene from Daredevil 2, in this interview, he talked about a big part of this guy is searching for himself. He's got this pain, regret, and remorse. There's a graveyard scene where he opens up. He delivers this scene where he explains what it's like to come home and see his daughter. It was such a gift from John C. Kelly, the person who wrote that episode. I had been away from my kids for 3 months, and I was in the crux of my own torture going through that. He's an unbelievable amount of pain, and that speech was the anchor for the season and for me. We always talk about how these actors, when they join Marvel, they eat it up. And it's very exciting to see that he just gets the character. He also caught up with Deadline as they were chatting about the Punisher and the spin-off series. He obviously says that he's tremendously excited about it. He also told the trade about where things currently stand with the spinoff series, announces earlier this year, and says, I look at it as a real joy and a real responsibility and a real honor to play Frank Castle. I feel like he's in my bones now, and he's in my heart. I'm ready to keep going with him. As far as what this show is going to be and what it's going to be about and when it's going to shoot and where it's going to shoot and all that, unfortunately, I don't know anything. It's kind of part and parcel with the way that Marvel works. Information is definitely on the need-to-know basis. I am nervous, and I just want to do the character and the world justice.
Yeah, anybody, they just like convert them, man.
I think my biggest story is Michael Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
He took the part because his son wanted him to be in a superhero movie. He had no interest.
And now he's just all about it.
He's like, he has said numerous times he wants to be in the next Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Actually, next up is the
newest segment in CP to the second degree. It's the dope of the week.
Dope of the week is Ronald Emmerich.
Dope, 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 dope.
Dope. Director of Independence Day 2 Resurgence, Independence Day, 10,000 BC, 2012, White House Down.
Universal Soldier.
I got some quotes from this guy, man. Let me tell you. We kind of talked about last
this
week.
This dude is a doofus, man. Oh, he's a dope.
I was like,
but he's a doofus.
Doofus is a segment for next week. So here's some quotes from Ronald Emmerich that has made him this week's
Dope of the week.
I felt that when I saw some of these Marvel movies or DC movies from Warner's, Emmerich tells Loaded on how he believes the superhero genre has been borrowing from his back catalog.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about this.
I felt, oh my god, that looks familiar to me. Why is Superman bashing so many buildings? I was actually warned already by Steven Spielberg that this will happen. He said Independence Day will be the most imitated film of the next 20 years, and he was right. Smart man. He also added by saying, very early in my career, I was offered one or two of those, but it's not my kind of film. I grew up in Germany, where we weren't big on superheroes to begin with. They didn't work as well as everywhere else in the world. Only now, they work very well. I just also felt that I wanted to make my own films. I pride myself to make originals. Even Independence Day Resurgence is quite original for a sequel, because it's more of the continuation of the story.
So he didn't borrow from Robotech at all.
Exactly.
Nobody in his writing room watched Robotech growing up and was like, oh, what if they took all the alien technology and integrated it into our technology, and now they're...
Can I just reread?
Yeah, do it. The actual dope of the week quote.
I felt, oh my god, that looks familiar to me. Why is Superman bashing so many buildings?
He is so full of himself. I think this guy is more full of himself than Bryan Singer.
Or Brian Bendis.
This dude is ridiculous.
I was actually warned already by Steven Spielberg that this will happen. He said Independence Day will be the most imitated film of the next 20 years. He was right. Smart man.
And there is some truth to that a little bit. Because take The Matrix, for example. After The Matrix came out, slow motion fight scenes were like in your face in every movie. Because It was cool. And everybody wanted to do it. High stakes destruction on a global scale was probably also some inspiration was taken from what was done in Independence Day. But you cannot tell me that Superman fighting Zod through Metropolis
legitimately
was inspired in any way by Independence Day. No way. So
and there's no way that you can sit there and go, hey, that's like my movie when I blew up the White House.
Yeah. So this dude is basically saying anytime there's any form of destruction in a movie, hey, that looks like my movie. Steven Spielberg was right. They're stealing my ideas. You're a dope. get off your high horse and get out of Hollywood because you're part of the problem.
Well, also, his movie didn't stand up to Finding Dory.
Well, surprise, surprise. It already looked terrible. And then he releases it the same day as the new Pixar movie. Stupid.
It's over the Atlantic Ocean.
Not only a Pixar movie, but a sequel to a Pixar movie. And one of the higher tiered Pixar movies. Not that they're not all high tier.
Also, I pride myself to make originals. Even Independence Day Resurgence is quite original for a sequel because it's more of the continuation of the story.
What is that even?
Even Independence Day Resurgence is quite original for a sequel, saying this is different than other sequels. Why is it different from other sequels? And why is it original? And why does it stand out amongst other sequels? Because, Clayton, it's more the continuation of the story. Dang it, Seth.
Yeah. I should have turned notifications off. He must have just got an auto rifle. He just said, Clayton, your auto rifle.
So tell me, what...
He's a dope. Give me a break. My sequel is so original and stands out from other sequels because it continues the story. Shut up. Go back to Germany, where superhero films apparently don't do anything because they don't mean anything. Oh, wait. Superhero movies do far better globally than they do domestically. So I guess they do probably just fine.
It's true.
Stupid. And let's be honest. When he was offered
one or two
early in his career, okay, superhero films sucked balls back then. So congratulations, you didn't take a bad movie. They're not bad anymore. They're the cream of the crop. They're changing Hollywood.
It's true.
So
this next bit of information is actually very intriguing, and it really excites me for the future of things.
Oh my!
Matt Key, who's a producer on Kevin Smith's Fat Man on Batman podcast, has this to say: "I've heard from a few of my sources, my little birds, that Fox and Marvel have kind of talked, but not really. But there's this interest from Fox, like, oh, you know what they did with Sony and Spider-Man is actually pretty cool. Like, maybe we're years away from that ever possibly happening. But I think that's what it would take, Fox joining hands with Marvel."
They probably should. Let's be honest.
They really should.
Bryan Singer's sure not doing them any favors.
They apparently are okay with the way that Apocalypse performed in the box office.
Well, of course they are, because...
But again, they've also... Simon Kinberg has been on record saying that, I mean, Fantastic Four didn't do great. You can't get it right every time, man.
Yeah.
But we're totally willing to get back in there and try it again with the same cast and same story.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kissing their own butts. It's weird.
Well, you can't admit defeat.
Yeah.
As soon as they admit defeat, the audience will quit going.
I guess that's true. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is being courted to play the Wolfman, Universal's monster movieverse. This upsets me.
It doesn't necessarily upsets me, but it definitely sets...
It sets a tone.
It sets a tone in everyone's mind.
He's not a rangeful actor.
No, I mean, if he's cast correctly, and I think he does a good job at picking his movies.
He does, but compare this to Benicio del Toro's Wolfman.
No,
like,
I completely agree. So,
man,
and that's where I was saying, and where you agreed, the tone they're setting. So this is going to be probably a very different Wolfman than what we've seen before. And it also sets the tone for the universe, because the Mummy, that ridiculous mummy synopsis. This is not what I envisioned when I thought of... I mean, I was already like, okay, you're doing a cinematic universe of the original monsters. Well, okay.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
I also think it's a missed opportunity that, as of right now, they're not using the Dracula Untold movie.
I was just getting ready to say, because that was originally supposed to be kind of part of it.
And it ended cool. It ended in... I don't know if you ever saw it, but it actually ended in present day. Like, the main like, vampire villain who turns Dracula, towards the end of the movie, it kind of becomes like Dracula wants to hunt him down, and it, like, jumps into the present day after everything of, like, Dracula's story is told, and he's, like, still, like, hunting him down stuff.
So, and we haven't heard any more on that, so that may still be the plan, but that movie definitely has a different tone than what the synopsis of Tom Cruise's Mummy gives off, and now what The Rock is
Right.
the Mummy.
We have Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man.
Oh yeah.
Like they're making something weird over there. Which I actually can't believe you have not. You need to see Dracula Untold. The way that they incorporate the vampiric powers in the action sequences is awesome. Like it reminds me of, remember Infamous,
Festival of the
Festival.
Lost.
Yeah. So you know like how you can break off into bats and you can do that mid combat? They do that in the movie.
That's cool.
He like breaks off into bats and comes up and like reforms. It's just like,
You know what one
it's
of my
so cool.
biggest disappointments is? Infamous Second Son could have been way more awesome.
If they did DLCs.
Let's be honest. But they didn't do any, like the DLC that they did was First Light, and you played like as that girl.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't they do something cool like Festival of the Lost? That was so awesome.
I thought it was Festival of Blood. Is it not?
It might have been Festival of Blood.
But that was really cool.
It was really cool.
Bloody Mary was the villain.
He like had that sweet, because he started out by breaking that coffin and had like a metal cross on it. So his weapon was like a metal cross with like wood on the end, so he could kill all the vampires. That's so awesome.
It was so cool. That was a good game.
Sucker Punch.
What are they doing? We don't know.
We don't know what
They didn't have a presence at E3.
No, the rumor was that they might have been early development on that Spider-Man game, but now we know it's Insomniac, so we don't know what they're doing.
Forrest Whitaker's Rogue One character has been revealed to be Saw Gerrera from Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Which is cool.
What's cool about this is that we are seeing what the TV shows mean for Star Wars canon, Star Wars lore, and for the movies, only giving more credence to our Snoke episode.
Yeah, so if you haven't listened to Snoke, go back, because I'm not going to get into it now. But what this shows is
they're taking them seriously. Like, they mean something.
Well, they do mean something. And Clone Wars, I've said it several times, I think, during the course of the podcast life cycle so far. I would have rather them even kept going in Clone Wars and retold
the movie.
Episode 3. Like, just keep going and retell it. Because
their Anakin was better.
Their Anakin was better. He was actually a character. He had depth. You cared about him. The story arcs and just everything that they did was so cool. They brought Darth Maul back, who's now playing a more integral part in Rebels, which is them acknowledging not only this character in the movieverse, Forrest Whitaker's character, now not only gives more credence to the Clone Wars and the weight that their story is told, but gives even more credence to the Rebels and the part that it's playing in the overall universe.
Right.
So I love that they're like almost completely ignoring the prequels, but they're utilizing prequel era stories that actually have meaning and depth.
Yes.
It's awesome. Disney, you better not mess up Rogue One, because I keep complimenting you on everything.
I know. Bokeem Woodbine from Fargo Season 2 has joined Michael Keaton and Logan Marshall Green as the third villain for Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, 3 villains.
We kind of talked about this off camera, though. I said the one thing that I think is okay, and this is not my idea, this was something that I read someone post, and I was like, that is a really good idea, is how cool would it be for the movie to start with Spider-Man fighting a lower tier villain like the Shocker.
Yeah.
Only to show that, like, up until now, every Spider-Man movie has been him fighting petty street level crime or some huge baddie.
There's nowhere in between.
Yeah. But if you had like these kind of throwaway villains to just have him like punch around throughout the narrative and to show that he's like been doing this stuff.
Yeah.
I think that that makes the big baddie seem even badder, but it shows that Spider-Man has skill and he's not bored.
Yeah.
Like he's always doing something.
He's been doing it for 6 months by the time he was recruited by Tony. And we don't exactly know when this movie is taking place, like how long after. I assume at least a month or 2.
Yeah.
So like he's going on probably 8 months to a year as a superhero already. You know, surely he's fought somebody.
Right.
especially in this ever-expanding Marvel universe with all these people with powers. So
Right.
I'm okay with 3 villains. It's initially you read that and you're like, ugh, because we know what has happened in the past with superhero films. But
It's also Marvel doing it this time.
it's Marvel doing it. It's a new era of superhero films, as we keep on saying. So they'll do it right, hopefully.
I agree. Madison McLaughlin joins Arrow Season 5 as Artemis. Madison McLaughlin, you would recognize from Supernatural. She's the one whose father was a hunter and was murdered, and she went hellbent to go kill the vampires, and Dean kind of took her under his wing, but was like, you can't be doing this because you're going to die.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they bring Artemis into the fold.
Yeah. I mean,
It's just,
I don't care what they do over there anymore.
you might soon.
No.
You might soon.
No.
Bryan Cranston has been cast as Zordon in the Power Rangers reboot. A return for the actor, as he did voiceover work for the original 1993 series.
Really? I had no idea.
That's actually where he got his start. He was doing
Wow.
voiceovers for just the random villains.
Yeah. Huh. Good for him.
He's also quoted saying, "Yes, it's motion capture, and it's a lot of CGI work. The tenet of that storyline is that this is a real person who is trapped in this other world, and it becomes this in-the-wall, so to speak, of the command center. He still has a heart and mind, but an agenda that he's got to get these 5 Power Rangers to defend the Earth, or else everyone they know will be killed." So it's exciting. So
It's bringing a little, a level of credence, a level of acclaim,
yeah.
quality.
Oh, him being involved in the project, where
Yes.
before everyone in that movie is unknown, and they have Elizabeth Banks, who's the villain, but
Yeah.
she's always in comedies.
Well, she was in Hunger Games,
That's true.
but she
But
was
still.
playing a
Bunker's character.
yeah.
Um.
She also does the Realtor commercials.
Oh. Brian Fuller spoke out about the potential return for the ever so popular Hannibal show, and when we could see the final and 4th season. Let me pull up my little quotey quotes here. 2 years after the last airing of the show, we can investigate our options, explained Fuller to Collider. August 2017 is when we can actually start talking about it. That's when we would have to see what the rights are for the character and for the story, and to see who's interested in how we get it done. Fuller has also previously stated that he has an idea for the 4th season, something he's reiterated to Collider, saying, "I have the story, and the cast is excited for the story, and we're all ready to go if somebody wants to go." If the rights issues are ironed out, that would leave the not inconsiderable hurdle of the show's leads' schedules to organize, with all the major players, including Fuller, now in the project. The cast is game, I'm game. It's just a matter of finding the right time where everybody's schedules sync up. But I would love to continue to tell the story with Hugh Dancy and Matt Mikkelsen. They're such fantastic collaborators and one of the most satisfying actor-showrunner relationships I've ever had in the industry. So I would love to continue the story. I've never watched the show, but I know a lot of people who love it, and it's very, very popular.
You know why this is significant to me?
Why is it significant to you?
Because it's going to take 2 years for the rights to get to where they can make this next season, right?
Right.
Haven't heard anything about it
You're getting
until right now.
You're getting to
And they can actually talk about it in August of
2017. It's next year.
So, Constantine has been an enigma. It disappeared after its cancellation.
Right.
Has yet to appear in Blu-ray form or on any streaming service. In fact, it is now not even on Hulu, which the entire season was on Hulu.
Right.
You cannot find it anywhere to watch or buy. Why? The cast, the showrunners, the creative team, all wanted the show to continue, to be shopped around. Are they playing a waiting game? Will we hear a story like this in another year?
Maybe.
About Constantine finding a new home?
Maybe.
I hope.
My last bit for news and rumors is actually involving the Star Wars Rogue One. Speaking to EW, Entertainment Weekly, both Kennedy and Edwards, that is Gareth Edwards, the director, and Kathleen Kennedy, is that her name?
Yeah.
The head of Lucasfilms, set out to squash these rumors. They set out, Clayton, with a passion.
3 weeks later.
3 weeks later. There's quoted saying, Edward says, I mean, it was always part of the plan to do reshoots. We always knew we were coming back somewhere to do stuff. We just didn't know what it would be until we started sculpting the film in the edit. As for what was actually being reshot, Edwards and Kennedy played down the drama, claiming the story was not being changed in any way. Quoting, there's lots of little things that we have to get, but it's all little things within the pre-existing footage, Edwards said. Obviously, you've got to work around everyone's schedule, and everyone's on different films all over the world, so it's a bit of a logistical nightmare. That's why I think it's been blown out of proportion a little bit. There's nothing about the story that's changing, with a few things that we're picking up in additional photography, added Kennedy. I think that's the most important thing, to reassure fans that it's the movie we intended to make. As for the tone, Edwards said that Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, will be dark as he always intended. I definitely describe it as it's got a dark tone, he said. The studio has been very supportive of that. I mean, the sort of tone we were going for when we started was the tone you have in films like The Empire Strikes Back, and that's not in any way been compromised. Kennedy added that Edwards' signature hand Scrabble style will be very present in the movie. He does a lot of handheld, intimate close-up work. That's not something you've necessarily seen in a Star Wars movie before, she said, and we brought in the cinematographer Greg Fraser to shoot it, who had done Zero Dark 30. So a combination of Greg and Gareth has been, I think, fantastic, and it just gives it a real unique style.
So here's what I have to say that may be, for the most part, true. But if it is completely 100% true, why did they wait so long to say something? This has been snowballing for 3 weeks or more, and they're just now coming out and saying something? They're smarter than that. They did some low-level PR. It wasn't working. Now they're bringing out the big guns to continue the PR.
Right.
The logistical nightmare would not fuel rumors that said Disney wants it to be more fun and more adventurous, like Force Awakens. A logistical nightmare would not fuel rumors that Disney is afraid that if it doesn't change to be more fun and adventurous, that it won't perform as well as The Force Awakens.
Right.
Which last week we discussed is probably impossible for any Star Wars film now.
Yes.
So, while I would like to believe and take everything they say for face value, we also have all these other rumors that would not have been spawned from logistical nightmare issues. And you come out and say, we always plan for reshoots. Well, yeah, every movie plans for reshoots, because you go into the editing room, you edit together your movie, and you're like, oh crap, I need like 10 minutes of this dude like sitting in a car. Or, something like that. It wouldn't be fueling something like that. Planned reshoots would not fuel rumors
because they happen all the time.
Right. It would not.
Things don't get blown out of this proportion.
Exactly.
And
you only hear about reshoots when it's an issue.
Right. And kind of like we said earlier, if it weren't true, and that's why I don't believe this filth. I don't believe it. If this were true, they would have said this the day.
They would have said it, yeah.
Not 3 weeks later when they were like, holy crap.
Yeah.
What do we do?
That's exactly what's going on. They tried to keep spewing PR, and once it didn't work, they're like, okay, we gotta put
Mickelson out saying that, like, oh yeah, I'm only there for like a week or two.
Right, and that didn't work. So, all right, Kathleen, you're gonna have to get out there and take Gareth with you, because
poor Gareth.
We've got to stop this.
Can't stop.
But maybe this is showing them something. Maybe Disney's like, go reshoot half the movie, and then it snowballs into this issue where they have to PR, and then pull out their big guns finally 3 weeks later.
Maybe they won't do all the reshoots.
And maybe they won't. Maybe now this is true. Maybe it took 3 weeks for them to come out, because now maybe they're not going to be so change it.
Maybe.
So we'll see. Because I find it hard to believe. See, this is another thing. Like, I want to believe it. It kind of contradicts a lot of the rumors that we've heard, and like logistical nightmare doesn't fuel the rumors that we're talking about.
Right.
And I find it hard to believe that Gareth Edwards would come out and say something that's just like a blatant lie about his movie. You know what I mean? So maybe that's, as I'm talking about this, maybe that's what the deal is. It's taken 3 weeks for Disney to just say, okay, fine. Go out and say that nothing's wrong, nothing's changed, and just do it.
Give them the movie that we clearly want.
Yeah.
Because you obviously don't know.
And we need it. We need it.
We do.
Not enough
She brings up a really good point, like his style and stuff. Like it doesn't. It shouldn't feel like Star Wars. It should feel like it should be in the world of Star Wars, but it shouldn't feel like a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And it's needed also because people don't know enough of the background of like the Empire and stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's needed for the mainstream audience. There needs to be a movie like this that shows the Empire as an imposing, evil, terrible force that is an upward battle to destroy and defeat.
Right.
So that we can understand how legendary our heroes from the main Star Wars films are.
Right.
And if the rumors are true and Darth Vader's in this, he better be flipping awesome. Like, don't just like show him talking.
Well,
like,
that was another thing.
Him,
We had talked about how
on a battlefield just wreaking havoc.
I told you I was disappointed that they revealed Darth Vader was in it, and you were like, well, they had to because of all the drama. And that happened before this.
Yeah.
Even after the Darth Vader news, people, I guess, were still like, I don't effing care.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, Kathleen Edward, get out there.
But yeah, they had to. They had to release it. And it wasn't about they had to, but they did it to change the
tone of
to change the focus.
Right.
So I'm not focusing on 50% reshoots anymore. Now I'm focused on Darth Vader's in the movie, but guess what? It didn't work.
Right.
Seth, the magenta adds 1 million damage.
So that's the end of my news and rumors. Jeepers creepers.
How long are we going?
We're almost at an hour.
Jeez. Well, let's talk about Flash.
That's what happens when you have an unscripted intro. We chit chat crazily.
Well, this unscripted. Me scripting the intro wouldn't have changed our long chit chat.
That's true. Watch someone now write a review, be like, "Your chit chats are too long. Took me an hour to get to the topic of the show."
Well, in the words of Colin and Greg, that's what you get when you come here.
Yes. They are the stars we look to.
Okay, let's talk about the Flash.
Okay. Well, I mean, this was.
It doesn't have to be, and this topic doesn't have to be like super deep.
And it never, and it never was going to be.
We don't need this to go an hour and a half long, but we do want to. My PS4 is going nuts right now. Our Destiny clan is talking about some stuff, but we do want to talk about the Flash because they are doing it right over there.
It's one of my favorite TV shows right now. It really.
I agree.
There's never. We always talk about how when the fall starts, we have all these shows we watch, right? Then the mid-season finale happens, and there's that break. But you never come back to all the shows, right? You wait for them to come out on Netflix because you just get distracted by other stuff. The Flash is a show that I always come back week to week.
It's
I never
one of the
fell
only
away.
shows that I watch week to week. I don't do that anymore. Like I'll let them catch up on the DVR and I'll watch like 2 or 3 at a time.
Right.
I don't. Well, The Preacher, that's become one. I watch it every week.
Yeah.
It's a dang good show.
I have not watched it yet. I like Dominic Cooper.
Do you know he's British?
I did know that.
He's like really British.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew that. He's the villain in Dracula Untold, right? He's like one of them. He's the Sultan that Luke Evans fights.
No, I didn't.
You need to see Dracula Untold. It's really
that movie.
It's a really good movie.
You should watch when you watch Preacher. I don't know if I still have it on my DVR or not, but they did a talking Preacher. You know, they do Talking Dead and stuff. And they had Seth Rogen, Dominic Cooper, the other guy was Seth Rogen that did it, and then the showrunner. It was a really good episode. And they interviewed the guy who plays the vampire on the show, and he was talking about how...
Is it Cassidy?
Yeah, Cassidy.
He's from a show called Misfits. He's hilarious.
He's really funny. They were talking about how when they first recruited him, they had to actually go to his mom's house to talk to him because he has no internet, no mobile phone, he's not connected in any way. Like they had to like go find him, and he was living in his mom's basement at the time. They're like, "Hey, we want you for this part." But anyways, he's hilarious in real life. He was talking about how anytime he did a scene with Dominic Cooper, he just felt inadequate because he was standing next to this golden Adonis. It was just, and then they like put up this picture of like him standing in a field, like some set photo, and he's just like standing like Fabio type, just like standing there. I was just like, this dude's hilarious.
You have Hulu. You should watch Misfits. And what's cool about Misfits is that with each season, the cast kind of like changes, but it's done really well.
What is it even about?
It's superpowers, but it's like a really grounded, realistic take on superpowers. And like their powers aren't like over extravagant. It's just very interesting. You need to watch it.
Okay.
It's a comedy show.
Anyways, long story short, The Flash is one of the shows that I also watch every week because it just every episode just like leaves you with, I need to see what happens next.
Not only is it a show that's doing it right, but it's a show that is properly evolving. So like season 1 was really good, but like one of our biggest gripes were the throwaway villains. And it's like you have these cool villains that you don't flesh out and I don't care about, and then they're one and done.
It was one of those CW tropes that still lingers a little bit now in some of the dialogue and character progression choices, but one of the CW tropes is like the freak of the week.
Right.
And then like Smallville, dear God, every episode was a throwaway person that you never saw again, regardless of their namesake.
True. But the one thing that they grew on was they did have Freak of the Week episodes in season 2, but there was always something in the episode that was propelling the overall plot of what that season's story arc was. So there was always this investment, this kind of like energy that was like really like got you into the episode.
But yeah. So it's not like comparing to like another drama series that has like Freak of the Week, but also an overarching story.
Right.
The X-Files would still have like you go 3 or 4 or 5 weeks of just Freak of the Week,
Right.
and then finally you get back. Yes, we're talking about the alien conspiracy again. The Flash doesn't do that. They're always, it's like it's integrated so well into their life, the story arc and the villains.
Well, it's almost like it's getting closer to the cable mindset television where it's just straight plot.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely the direction that they're taking it. It's my son playing with change right outside our door.
Shut up!
If you can hear it.
Shut up, Cadis! Stop counting your money! Stop losing teeth!
So yeah.
And it had a good twist, too. You and I, leading up to the last couple episodes of season 2, we were like, how are they gonna like explain this? And I think they did really well. Like,
They did a very good job.
I wasn't left going, man, I mean, I think the way they resolved Jay Garrick and Zoom was like dumb. Like, I was like, that's cool. And not only was it cool, but there's a lot of little tidbits they did in the last one. So when the Time Wraiths attack Zoom, he transforms into the Black Flash.
Yeah.
And they pull him away. And so what's cool
we'll
about
see him
that?
again.
What's cool about that is he's now outside the timeline as a villain. So whatever the Flash is doing now and is causing the Flashpoint, he's still there.
Yeah.
He's not being erased from anything. So
And
that's
another,
so cool.
That's another thing that the Flash is doing right, especially going into and continuing through season 2 and into season 3. The throwaway villains are few and far between, and even if they were a throwaway villain, none of them are dying.
Right.
Like usually that's the typical thing. Like they die and they never, like that's just it. But they're put in a prison, and some of which even break out.
Right.
Causing more mayhem, or there are reoccurring villains like Captain Cold and things like that, which is awesome.
Yes.
That's the right way to do it.
Now, originally when we wanted to do the Flash episode, we were speculating that season 3 would be Flashpoint Paradox.
Yes.
We now know for a fact that the season
It
3
is.
episode 1 is
We were
called
right.
Flashpoint Paradox. So we were right. Pat on the backs to ourselves.
Hashtag.
We were going to discuss how long we think that story should be played out. It definitely should not be like a one-and-done episode.
No. And it's looking like that may be the case.
I'm hoping that's not. Stephen Amell was recently interviewed, and he said, this is all he said, that the Flash's Flashpoint paradox could affect the Arrow. Because they said, like, will this,
Well,
like,
then it will.
Will it span across the other platforms? And he said that it could.
Then it will.
So my theory is a good amount of time would be, since, like, TV now has found this rhythm of, like, a fall season and a spring season, the whole fall season of The Flash should be Flashpoint Paradox. And we know that the giant mega crossover that's going to happen is going to involve all 4 shows of The Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, and Legends of Tomorrow. And I think that 4-way crossover should be the resolution of Flashpoint Paradox. This one big epic 2-hour finale to Flashpoint Paradox. Or no, that'd be like 4-hour finale.
4-hour finale.
To Flashpoint Paradox. And then you come back in the spring where all the shows are where they should be. Legends of Tomorrow as a show doesn't start until that point anyways. So you can say that them being involved in this Flashpoint Paradox is, like, it would make sense. And then like it just gets reset and then they go on with their season. Cool.
Yeah.
Supergirl is going to have some sort of, I'm not saying like some sort of shakeup, but it's going to be shaken up a little bit because it's now in the CW, right? But it'd be really cool to get these new viewers invested in this character on a new slate.
Yeah.
Fresh. And what better way to do that than with Flashpoint Paradox?
Yeah.
And then you have the Arrow, which it just needs a revamp anyways, of any shape or form.
Bad.
And that would be a really good way to bring in new viewers. It's like, you know, if you kind of fell away from the show or if you've never watched it before, this is a good jumping on point because it's all fresh.
Yeah.
It's an alternate reality.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool and a good use of time.
I want it to go all season. And I want it to be... They've already said that they're going to do kind of their own thing, their own take, so it fits in their universe, which makes sense. But I want it to borrow heavily from the Flashpoint story arc. I want to see Thomas Wayne. I want to see...
Jeffrey Dean Morgan has said he wants to play Thomas Wayne.
I want to see... Dude, how cool would it be to even have, like, an Aquaman and a Wonder Woman, you know, like, just go all out.
Well, we know
change everything.
Because Superman has been cast in Supergirl, so I think they're being more open to, like, what kind of big names can be in these shows.
And you could get away with it more with this because it's an alternate timeline.
Exactly.
So I want them to go all out. I want the mid-season finale to be a big epic crossover, but it's where they figure out Barry can't fix it because the Reverse Flash won't let him.
Yeah. Because this was one of the theories I wanted to talk about was we know that I almost said Tom Welling, but Tom Cavanaugh, who plays Harrison Wells, is going to be in the next season. But I think what they're going to do is they seem to like making this actor play different parts of himself. And he does a very good job at it.
You think they're going to replace Thomas Wayne with him?
That I don't know. My theory...
Not in the vigilante part, but maybe he's like the one who tries to turn Barry into the Flash again.
I'm not sure. So here's my theory. When season 1 of The Flash starts, this version of The Flash is a brand new timeline. Because what had happened was the Reverse Flash went back in time to kill Barry's mom.
Yes.
Failed, got stuck back in time, and forced the particle accelerator to go off earlier than it was originally supposed to, so that Barry could get his powers sooner, so he could siphon the power and go back to the future, right?
Yes.
Since Barry has saved his mom, I'm thinking not only is Flashpoint Paradox happening, but I think a little bit of the remnant of the original timeline is also happening at the same time. So the Reverse Flash is still going to be a heavy player. He's not going to get stuck back in time like he did before because he failed at his mission and was probably able to jump back in time. So you're going to have that actor be playing the Reverse Flash, and he'll be back as a main villain, which is what I want. And you'll have Tom Cavanaugh playing the original Harrison Wells. Because
who was never actually seen.
Right. And it was not needed to be murdered by the Reverse Flash because he was able to go back in time.
Yeah.
Or Back to the Future.
This is going to sound like all over the place for anybody who's not watched the show.
No, right. But you're following what I'm saying. You are following what I'm saying.
I am.
So that is my theory, is that Tom Cavanaugh will be playing the original Harrison Wells. The Reverse Flash will be one of, if not the main villain. Since there's so much timeline stuff going on, I think the Time Wraiths are definitely going to be playing a heavy hand on what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, you are messing with the timeline, we're going to kill you. They can bring in the Black Flash. How cool would it be to have the Black Flash and the Reverse Flash as villains?
Yeah, it'd be pretty sweet.
Because you would have two already established villains that we've spent an entire season with. So you don't have to like.
You know what I just realized? This means it's going to be even longer wait to see Wally and Jesse Quick.
Well, the actress who plays Jesse Quick is confirmed to come back, but we don't know in what capacity.
Right.
But yeah, that is true.
Because it'll basically be like nothing happened.
I am interested in seeing how they address all of the timeline changes.
I think it's going to be just like Flashpoint. He's going to wake up. He's not going to have his powers. He's going to be the only one who remembers. And the world's going to be bonkers. Because the whole point to Flashpoint Paradox is not only did he change his current timeline in the future, but he changed the past also. Like, so many alternate things happen because it's a flashpoint. So think of it like a ripple in the water. It like ripples out in the past and the future, changing everything. So he's going to wake up. If he doesn't wake up and it's completely different, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
That's my hope. And I want it to be the whole season. And I want it to affect the other shows. If it does not affect the other shows, or if they do just one episode, I'm going to be extremely disappointed.
Because this is an opportunity to do something truly unique on TV.
Yeah.
A very unique thing.
Yep.
And it'd be very cool.
It would be extremely cool.
And he's just perfect. I love Grant Gustin
He's the perfect Barry Allen.
I also love that they got his suit so perfect that the films have had to go in this like drastically weird direction with the suit, because if they did it perfect, it would just be a copy of his suit.
Yeah.
Bravo, CW. You really got this show.
The only thing I don't like is that stupid helmet to hood situation. He takes off his leathery formed mask and it's just a limp hood on his neck.
There's a reason why we never actually see him put it on.
Yeah, it just bugs me.
It's like Captain America.
They did the same thing in Captain America, the original Avengers movie. Like, it was so clearly a hard plastic type thing.
Right.
And then he takes off his mask and it's a cloth hood. Come on. Can we not hold ourselves to a higher quality? If I
see it.
I know you saw it. I know you made a conscious decision to do that. Stop it.
I know, but in this case, the only thing that bugs me about his cowl is
the chin?
No, not even the chin. So
the eyebrows.
Every once in a while,
the pointy thing.
They use the year one cowl where the eye holes are more oval than circular, and it looks better when it's a circle.
Really? I never noticed.
If you really notice it when they did the CGI model, because the
CG probably makes sense because they probably didn't spend money to change it.
Yeah, the CG Barry is from year one, and they talked about how when you watch the interviews with the special effects team, they continuously build on that model. So especially when it goes from a special effects scene to a practical scene, it's the oval eyes to the round eyes, and I'm like, come on. And we could talk about that all night too. Is the stuff they're doing with special effects and stuff like Grodd and everything. Like
they do a pretty good job for
a TV show.
A TV show on the CW.
Like King Shark, like
yeah. If you take all that into account, it's already good CG, but then you take into account that it's on the CW.
Right.
Like they're spending some money, or they've got some talented people
who work tirelessly.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason why we every once in a while get those weird breaks. It's because like
no CG at all.
Well, no, like when we get like the weird like out of nowhere, just like 2 weeks without a new episode. Oh, that's when I go next episode. There's a lot of cool special effects.
Guys, we need some more time. There's only 3 of us. So,
but overall, I would give season 2 probably 8.5 out of 10. I really liked it.
Season 2, 8 out of 10. If you haven't watched any of The Flash, go watch it.
Please.
We didn't really spend a whole lot of time actually talking about season 2, but I think you can tell that we love The Flash. And if you are a fan of The Flash, this is the show for you. If you were a fan of like
even just sci-fi in general.
Did you watch the Justice League cartoon growing up?
Young Justice.
Or Young Justice if you're not quite as old as we are, even though we still watch that show. If you're a fan of just good quality DC, this is where you're going to find it.
It's true. And the whole season 2 is all about like Earth 2 and all that stuff. Like, it's just so good.
Opening up the multiverse, traveling back and forth.
The Speed Force.
Speed Force.
One thing they've never shied away from is calling them speedsters.
Yeah.
Referring to the Speed Force as this living entity. Like, it's just, they don't hold back. They've totally embraced the source material, and it's awesome.
And that's, we keep saying, how do you succeed? Embrace the source material.
Embrace the characters.
Zack Snyder.
I was like, whoa, okay, oof.
I was so surprised that nobody liked my movie. Really?
Stupid. Doofus.
Did you see the new bat suit is gonna be kind of armored, not like mechanized, but he's gonna have like kind of armor pieces, and then like his right arm has like some apparatus on it because as a 40-year-old old Batman, he's got an old injury that he needs to compensate for, and then he also has gold tinted goggles that he wears that helps him pilot the new vehicles.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't hear any of that.
Yeah, it was on IGN yesterday. Because they got to go to the set.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
So, one of the new vehicles is, I forget what it's called, but it's got a thin cockpit and like 4 spider legs. And he drives it, and it can go like up walls and stuff. And then another new vehicle is called like the Foxcatcher or something like that, I think. And it's like this huge multi-level airship, and the cockpit's like in the back of the plane for some reason. But he can park his bat plane in there, and it's got multiple levels, and it's used as a mobile command base for the Justice League. Yeah.
Strange.
So I kind of picture if it looks like the Injustice Batman kind of armored, it'd be kind of cool. But I saw what they did in Batman vs Superman, and the more stuff on his right arm sounds like it might look stupid.
I agree.
So we'll see. I feel so bad for Batflag. Just like, is he? I feel like he might have gotten tied up with a bad situation. I mean, we won't know for sure until we see it, but
yeah. And and that's the frustrating part, is that you and I have said that we cannot judge the changes on the creative team of DC until Justice League, because Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman were done before the changes of like who's in charge of what.
What is even going to happen in Wonder Woman? Is it an origin story?
Yeah, it's an origin
so
story.
So it's like a prequel? It happens before?
And it takes place in World War II.
Oh, so it's like the first Avenger.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's even... Wait,
no. Maybe it's World War One.
Well, still.
Yeah.
Because isn't Chris Pine like leading a band of dudes?
Mm-hmm.
Not unlike the Howling Commandos.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very. So. That was episode 11. Right?
Yeah, it was yeah. Episode 11. The Flash episode.
Also known as the Chit Chat episode. Well, folks, thank you for coming back to listen to episode 11 after our... We came back last week, but we did have that 2-week hiatus. Be sure to come back next week, as Clayton and I will be talking about our Tarzan review and our thoughts and feelings on that film. We will also be doing a vlog of our adventure to Tarzan. Be sure to like us on Facebook, and feel free to email us at cp2degree@gmail.com for topic ideas and just things you'd like to get off your chest. Let us know how you're doing. You're our fans. We want to know how you're doing. Be sure to follow me on Twitter. My name is Corbin Presson. That's Presson. You can follow Clayton at
Cool Leighton Presson.
That is, again, Presson, despite what your word devices and phones might say, it is not T. You can also follow our collaborative mind at CP2Degree on Twitter. Please be sure to follow on Podbean or subscribe on iTunes, where we'd love to hear your review. Let us know what you think of us, and make sure to jump over to YouTube, where you can also subscribe and share and comment. And as always, for everything in the Nerdosphere, keep it right here at CP2Degree.
We'll see you
next time.